But guess what? Part of IT is researching and knowing about things. So I added this into cybersecurity. I'm going to add it into here too. What happened last week that made all the IT news?
AWS.
Yeah, Amazon Web Services was out for about a day. So, what does that mean? Um, what was the underlying cause? How did it cause this stuff? What can be done to prevent this? How do you prevent and provide redundancy? So in security, we have something called the CIA triangle. Confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Confidentiality means that if I don't want Alex to get to something, he can't. He only gets to the information that he can get to. That also includes authenticating. You have to have a username and password. You have to have something on your smartphone. And so the other part is integrity. We want to make sure that if Alex goes to his bank and he withdraws $1,000, he actually doesn't withdraw $10,000. So integrity means the data has to stay intact and not get corrupted. Availability means what good is security if you can't get to it? Availability could be redundancy. Cloud providers, that's what they're designed for. They have data centers all over the world. And what can cause all of these data centers all at once to have trouble? Well, that's the question. There is an answer of sorts. And how is that going to affect does that affect how people think of using cloud services? What do you think?
Some people,
Why?
not everyone will even really care, but some people.
I'm talking about business. In a business, how would you evaluate your use of cloud services before or after the AWS outage as far as redundancy and availability? That's
Before,
looking at the business case.
I would have seen it as a pretty decent, safe way to do it. Now I probably have some more on sites, at least 2 on-site backups as well. I wouldn't trust it that much.
That's a good thought, having on-site backups, yeah. Or you could maybe have, what else did you do? Be more redundant. Can you afford to be more redundant? Some businesses, that's all they can afford. Much of the CIA triangle is driven by money. You can only afford so much redundancy.
Yeah.
So when something like that happens, it is a good time to reevaluate how you're doing things. That doesn't mean you make a change, but you look at how you're doing things just to see, does it make sense now based on this? That's what you want to do when you have these sorts of things. It's like when a major virus comes out and does things, and there's viruses every day, 1,000 come out every day, but there's some that create so much damage. Like the Mirai botnet is one, Stuxnet was another one that was very unusual. The I Love Me virus way, way back in the ancient days is one of the first ones that created a lot of trouble. Basically, it was a Visual Basic script that went through your address book and sent an I love you email to everybody in your address book. Well, that's not bad, except that it clogged up everything with all these extra emails. Now it's like one of the first, actually, you'd think of it as a worm. Because what a worm does is it replicates itself and takes down your network because you have so much traffic. That was way back when I was starting out, we had that. It's like, what's going on here? And then we figured it out and, stopped it. But yeah, it's only gotten worse since then. Yes, Ignacio?
Did you also say you need to evaluate the services that you're getting it from, like this is AWS instead a business could switch to Azure or cloud?
Yep. The 3 big people, and that's one of the things that you'll read in articles is that they're looking at, there's really 3 big cloud providers, Google, Azure, which is Microsoft, and AWS. Do we need more players in the game? Well, Oracle, for example, Francisco, they have cloud offerings. There's other companies that have cloud offerings, not as big as these 3. These are like mega gigantic people that do that. So our Blackboard didn't go down, interestingly. I think they host the cloud themselves, I'm pretty sure. They have their own cloud hosting. So can you afford to have your own cloud hosting? No, depends on your business. With Blackboard goes out, yeah, that's not a good thing. So there's all sorts of factors to weigh. And so as you're working in IT, one of the things that you do is you have to keep up on this stuff because that could make a big major business decision that you need to support or bring up to your CEO or whatever, CIO, and say, we should think about, doing this, that, or the other thing. So you always have to stay on top of things. And of course, this is the big one right now, is AWS, which, as you can see, it's now faded into obscurity, but there'll be lots of articles about it now, because everybody knows more about what actually happened and how it happened. And it's amazing it happened with AWS, because they would have like some of the brightest people in the world working on this, and putting this together. So yeah, it was something serious.